Winding down the Zumbro River in Rochester, Minnesota, one's attention is sure to be captured by a structure that today may appear different from its storied history, yet still exude the same energy as the day it opened nearly 80 years ago. It all started in 1938, when the legendary Mayo brothers, Doctors Will and Charlie, paid $250,000 for the construction of the Mayo Civic Auditorium. Designed to provide entertainment for the citizens of a growing community, the venue housed two very different types of activities. The 1,700-seat arena would become home to athletic events, capable even of supporting an ice rink, while the 1,340-seat theater was intended to showcase the fine arts, theater, and musical productions. It wasn't until 1984 that the building would become known as the Mayo Civic Center. With the addition of the Taylor Arena and the Riverview Suites, the Mayo Civic Center underwent a huge transformation, evolving and adapting to the needs of the community it was nestled in. A decade later, in 1995, the Civic Center was connected to the Skyway system, making it accessible to larger gatherings, particularly in the cold winter months. Only 2 years later, an expansion to the west added a concourse to the theater, 4 Civic Center suites, and a grand ballroom. 1998 saw Rochester voters approve funding for a major renovation of the auditorium. The renovation also updated the center's technology, setting the space up for success in 2001 when the exhibit hall addition was completed. This new hall would be enjoyed by the community for years to come, for memorable consumer shows, fundraisers, meetings, and athletic events.
The thing I like about this building, there's a lot of space, a lot of room to work with, which really is a blank canvas for us, and then we can come in and make it whatever we want it to be. You know, we have done a lot of different fun, creative things down here. We've done themed events down here, corporate conferences, medical conferences, everything in between. So I've seen the building transformed into so many different things, which is really fun.
A lot of people compare it to a wedding. You know, our family is really big. I was expecting like 350 people. I was looking for something big, I was looking for something tall. The main point was, you know, to have fun, of course, to invite friends and family, and then pretty much it's just to have fun, the party. Everybody was kind of more relaxed because everything was done, everything was doing good. This one is time to celebrate now.
We've been hosting Feast at the Mayo Civic Center for 3 years now. Rochester's an hour and 15 minutes from the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport. They also have an international airport in Rochester. It's just a lot less complicated here because it's got a little bit more of a small town feel, but with a lot of the amenities of a larger town. So it's a very easy place to have a trade show.
The Civic Center really holds people well, and it's a really good backdrop to a lot of different types of activities. It's got lots of flexibility in terms of what they offer in spaces, so you can really configure your event in many different ways, and the staff will help you to do that and help you understand what your options are. Like, it's great, so you can trust them for their support.
The staff here have been great to work with. Everything from the first interaction you have with someone and you want to have an event here to the people that help out on the day of the event.
Whenever you pick up that radio and say you need something, someone answers and it gets done. It's great. I think the staff here is amazing, and you see these familiar faces, you know it must be a great place to work because they have a lot of people that have been here for a long time.
If you work with the Civic Center, it will be done right and it will exceed your expectations. And they are such professionals. They are so experienced in what they do that I don't have to worry about it. Which, as a project manager, overseeing such a large event, it is, peace of mind.
More than 3/4 of a century after the Mayo Civic Center first opened its doors, the center's biggest transformation yet got underway. The vision was to transform the Mayo Civic Center into the Upper Midwest's premier convention center. And that vision became a reality with the completion of an $84 million expansion project in 2017 that nearly doubled the building's capacity for hosting events. The center's many new venues, including the largest ballroom in the state and 23 modern meeting rooms, are ideal for the many different industries and events, such as medical and technical conferences, large business meetings, and healthcare summits. Architects Ken Betch of Betch Associates and Steve Sorensen of Rochester-based TSP were the visionaries who joined forces to guide this expansion from a stunning concept that was first proposed almost 10 years ago to its triumphant completion today. The process involved extensive research, creative design, and over 350,000 total hours of work put in by Knutson Construction and many local construction crews. From the beginning, the architects took their duty to heart. They knew they needed to transform the Mayo Civic Center into a premier convention center while still preserving its roots as a vibrant gathering place for the community. Betch and Sorensen held meetings with community members, event planners, and Mayo Civic Center staff so they could create a balanced design that was beneficial to the needs of all. At the core of the final design, they came up with what Betch calls the circulation concept. This concept would create a separate, behind-the-scenes avenue for service staff to move throughout the event space, disappearing into the background so as to keep the focus of an event on the patrons and entertainment. Betch and Sorensen were not only working towards a functional design, but also a design that visually made sense within its surrounding landscape. As it would turn out, a large section of the addition would feature a glass wave wall inspired by the Zumbro River, which winds gently by the center. Working in the natural flow of the landscape, the wave wall would use over 35,000 square feet of glass to cover the exterior. According to Betch and Sorensen, the wave wall creates a fishbowl effect, radiating a warm glow at night and allowing outside observers to view into areas being used for events and celebrations. With the design decided, the process of constructing the building loomed on the horizon and was not without its own challenges. Chief among those challenges was the goal to keep the facility in operation throughout the entire construction process, a process that was expected to coincide with hundreds of events. In actuality, over 500 events would happen while the building was under construction. It was no easy task, but work continued on the addition with limited interruption to scheduled events. The landscape itself offered a challenge as well, working with the soft topsoil near the river. The building required steel supports be driven 50 feet below the surface to create a solid structure. More than 570 steel piles would be driven into the ground in this fashion to outline the bones of the building and provide a strong foundation for the rest to fall in place. Construction on the expansion lasted just over 2 years, and to the credit of all the people involved in designing and building the addition, it was completed on time and on budget. With the finished addition opening its doors in 2017, a ripple effect is carrying throughout the community, bringing with it opportunity.
I am very excited about the potential that this building has and will fulfill. There will be conventions, conferences that come from literally, I think, from all over the world that we can now house here. And that excitement of having people from all around, but not forgetting the folks like myself that live here, that will be able to attend events that in a first-class building, which will be really exciting.
First and foremost, it's going to be a catalyst to the economy. That's really why we built it. And so when it's fully ramped up, people will feel the impact of about $20 million in additional spending in our city a year. That's really what it means. That's why we built it. Now, the net effect of all of it is it's going to be a wonderful place to hold events and celebrations and meetings, and so that's the lasting effect is really, you know, it's a place to gather, it's a place to have events, but I think the real bullseye is that it's going to provide economic stimulus to Rochester.
We are looking at this as a great opportunity to provide a different level of service, a much higher level, upscale environment to complement activities. We will no longer have to create that type of environment, but it will exist, and it will be separate from our entertainment and trade show-like atmospheres. Previously, we would have to create that with a little bit of pipe and a little bit of drape and lighting and so on, carpet. Now we have that upscale finished product that'll be ready to go for everybody.
Presentation hall, you're going to see, I think, a collective gasp when people go in there and see the new space that can be used for arts, culture, lecture type events.
Well, the new convention center now will obviously bring a lot more folks to Rochester and tourists that come, those that are here for a particular convention, conference, the families that come with them that will, fill the restaurants and the shops in town. I think that by itself will be a huge benefit. We hear that with our former, what we had, that people like to come to Rochester. There was a variety of things to go to restaurants, etc. This is just going to expand that, and we've already seen the number of restaurants, hotels that are going up. All of that will benefit the city.
I think the new Civic Center, the new Mayo Civic Center, is a perfect reflection of Rochester. I think it embodies who we are, and I think it's connected to who we are, and now we're going to begin to realize all those benefits.
Again, it's opportunity. It's the fact that we're bigger, we're better, and we have all of the ancillary services throughout the community that will support this type of activity. We're just anxious to get in there and get going.
I would say to the community, come and enjoy it. It's our Civic Center, and it's something that I think as you walk through this, and I'm hearing that before it's even totally open, that wow, what a big, beautiful building this is. And so I think the public needs to do that, just to come and appreciate it. It'll be something that in the state of Minnesota, it is the biggest, at least the ballroom and place like that. So we have it here in Rochester, and it's music, entertainment, sports, and now really having a true convention center here is really, notching it up big time. Super, why less?
The future is bright for the city of Rochester. Guided by a history of change, the Mayo Civic Center has evolved, yet again, to better serve the community. With this evolution comes a stimulus to the local economy and the opportunity to host more events and celebrations for the enjoyment of everyone.